Good morning, cruisers. How are ya? Hey, so you probably saw in a recent video that we have planned a trip on Virgin Voyages. We are going to take a cruise, and you notice the shirt I've got on today. I'm already preparing. But in today's video, we want to go over some of the preparations that we are making towards this trip, and we did on previous cruises, and it's just a good list of things that you will want to do in preparation for a cruise. Glenda is our planner,
Yeah.
and I'm going to let her take this over for the bulk of it.
Okay, so we just want to highlight a few of the things to think about. Of course, budget is always near the top of the list. And once you have your budget, you know what you've paid for your cruise, you know whether you have a drink package or not. Other things that you really want to think about is tours and port visits. If you want to take tours that are organized through the cruise ship, you can do that, and you can book that right through the cruise website. Or you can also consider looking at tours on other websites that are just available to the public. That would be sites like Viator or Get Your Guide. We often do that. I know there's risk. There's lots of information out there about making sure you're back for the ship, and that is very legitimate. What we have done some of these tours in the past, and we just always make sure that we have a stop time of the tour that's back at the port no later than 1 hour before departure. So we at least have 1 hour of wiggle room. And if the tour can't give us that, then we don't take the tour.
We are not runners, and
No.
we don't plan to start on a pier.
That is true. And some of the tours are just half day or 6 hours anyway, so it works out just fine. So think about what you want to do in port and what you want to spend toward those entertainment options. Another thing to think about is one of the first things you need to do is visit the muster station and check in and watch the film for what to do in an emergency. And what we normally do is watch YouTube videos about the ship that we're on and learn where the muster station is located, so that once we get on the ship, we're not fumbling around. Although I will say most cruises, there's really good signage, but we like to just know in advance. Once we have our luggage placed, we want to go to the muster station and take care of that piece of requirement. So we'd recommend you consider that. Another thing that you might want to think about is restaurants. In some cases, you can make reservations before you get on your cruise, and other times the restaurants are all booked, but you can make reservations when you get on board. So what we like to do, again, we often use YouTube, is learn what restaurants are available that require reservations, and then we choose which ones we want, not necessarily the exact day, but we at least know which ones we want to visit. And if there is a restaurant that we really, really want to make sure we visit, we will go ahead when we first board and make that reservation. Otherwise, we're flexible. We're willing to kind of wing it, and if there's no reservations available, just go up to the maitre d' and see if we can get in. And typically they will try to work you in. So something to consider. If you're a foodie and you definitely want to hit certain restaurants and you have a particular time that you like to eat dinner, I would make this a priority. Another thing to think about is the entertainment on the ship. Kind of similar to the restaurant situation. If there is a show that you have heard of or that you really know that you want to see, make sure you know what the times are and what the days are of that show, and just make it a priority to get that into your schedule. And another thing, kind of in the same line as entertainment, is port visits. So some ports have a lot of activities, a lot of things to do, and other ports might just be a beach. So we like to look up ahead of time what is available at a given port, and then determine, do we want to pay for a tour because there's something specific we want to see, that's several miles from the port, or do we want to just hang at a beach and then we just kind of research what the beaches are and go from there? Or are we just going to wander through town, maybe stop for lunch or something, and then just get back on the ship? So we recommend, especially if you have multiple ports and there might be a day you don't want to get off, you want to just stay on the ship in port, we recommend that you research that so you know which one of those you're more interested in visiting. And then also, with regard to ports, that's where, if you don't have a Wi-Fi package, that's where you can typically get the free Wi-Fi. So again, that is something you want to consider when you're booking your tours and all those things. Is that a day you really want to call your family and you don't have, video chat capabilities while at sea? then maybe you make sure, okay, when we're at this specific port at this time of day, so you make sure you line up the time zones, we want to make sure we touch base with the family. So that's something to just think about ahead of time, and then they can have a heads up of when you might contact them. And again, you can just wing it if it's not, a big deal. Just thought we would mention that.
That's something if you don't have a package that includes the Wi-Fi, right?
Right, right. And or if you have work you need to do that has to have higher speeds for upload and download, and you don't have that package available, then you'll want to kind of think about that for while you're in port as well. I do know, I've seen a lot of YouTubers that do live video streaming, and they'll do it in port where they know they have a strong signal, so they don't have to worry about the chat dropping. So another thing to consider. And then one last thing is packing considerations. When you go on a cruise, depending on where it is, what time of year, what the weather is like, you really need to think about what you need to pack in terms of weather, suitable. But again, if you're somewhere where it might get cold, you might want to consider putting that puffer coat in the bottom of your suitcase, or even maybe a cap or a pair of gloves. And likewise, if you know you're going to be visiting beaches while you're in port, maybe you want to have more than one bathing suit, or you want to make sure you have your sunscreen and your hat and those types of things. So really think more, not just what you're going to wear to dinner or maybe to a show, but really about your entire trip and the travel there and the travel back. And that's something that we're going to just chat a little bit about next.
Yeah, so we are big proponents of getting into that city of your embarkation the night before, the day before. Do whatever you need to do to avoid possibly missing your cruise ship.
Right. And I know some people that are local can drive in, and that's great. You do have to allow extra time for traffic. And the one thing that we know, and most of you who have traveled with cruising know, is that hotel prices near the port are exponentially higher than a typical day. So just be prepared to pay above market prices. And I know sometimes people will stay maybe 30 miles out in hopes of getting a less expensive hotel, which is good. But again, you kind of need to factor in if you're taking an Uber, what is that costing? Unless there's other public transportation that will get you to the port. But consider those costs offset to the hotel price, and
Yeah, so the cost, like you say, but also the time. I mean, there's thousands of people trying to get on that ship, and then multiply that by 2, 3, 4 ships going that day. So there's definitely going to be traffic, so time considerations as well.
Right. Another thing that you might want to consider for your hotel is that it be close to a restaurant or two, because we often don't have any transportation that evening, so we like to be able to walk to restaurants, or maybe even to a little party store or something if there's something nearby. So something else to consider in terms of the location of the hotel. So we hope you found these tips helpful, and thanks for watching.
And keep on tripping.